What's going on YouTube? I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. This channel focuses on primarily fragrances, but I like to throw in a little bit of style, a little bit of grooming tips in there for you guys as well. That way, anytime you walk out the door, man, you feel confident. You're wearing a great scent and you are looking your best. So if you're into that kind of content, which sincerely, man, at this point, I hope all you guys are interested in more than just smelling good. You want to look your best. Make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications as well by hitting the bell icon, so that way anytime a new video gets uploaded on this channel, you get notified. All right, guys, on today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 designer fragrances for life, but there's a twist this time. I'm going to be talking about high-end designer fragrances only. I feel like high-end designer fragrances are kind of in their own space, right? They're not niche fragrances, and while they are designer fragrances, a lot of them of course are more expensive than the typical designer fragrance. A lot of the major brands have their high-end designer fragrance line. Tom Ford has the designer line, so signature line. Then they have, of course, the private blends. You have Chanel, of course, they have their signature line. Then they have the Chanel Less Exclusive. YSL, you have the YSL Ys in their signature line. Then they have the La Vestia de Parfums collection. So a lot of these brands have their high-end designer fragrance line, and because sometimes, I don't want to say struggle, that's a strong word, sometimes folks that talk about fragrances don't know exactly where to put these fragrances that have this classification. So what I've decided to do is to give them their own classification, high-end designer fragrances, and we're going to talk strictly about those. So what 10 high-end designer fragrances would I keep for the rest of my life if I could only have 10? Very, very tough decisions to make, but I'm up for the task. So I'm going to roll the intro. When we come back, we'll get into it. The top 10 high-end designer fragrances for the rest of my life if I could only have 10, these are going to be it. If you want to see what's on the list, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it. Yes, sir.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to jump right into it. Again, guys, I'll emphasize as many of these as I can find through YouTube Shopping. I'm going to link them to the video if you want to check them out. So make sure you click the tab that says products and check these out. This first fragrance, this line is a hidden gem line. The entire line, everything I have or have put my nose on from this line is standout. Now, they don't have the best performance, but they smell fantastic. It is from the brand of Carolina Herrera. They had a line called the Confidential Collection. Oh, man, so many good ones. Nightfall Patchouli is amazing. They have an amber fragrance called Amber Desire. Fantastic. But this fragrance is just special. And so I have two honorable mentions. This is one of them. This is called Sandal Ruby. Just look how gorgeous the bottle is first and foremost. But this is, of course, sandalwood, tuberose, cinnamon, and patchouli are some of the main notes in this fragrance. And guys, this stuff is, it just smells phenomenal. That's really, of course, at the end of the day, what fragrances are all about. And that's what this is, man. I love sandalwood. It's right outside of my top 6 notes. It will be number 7, but just love it. And this is really about that sandalwood and tuberose. In the opening, it's a sandalwood dominated fragrance, and then on the dry down, man, it gets really cozy and warm with the patchouli in here, the warm spice of cinnamon. This stuff is fantastic. It smells phenomenal. But it's an honorable mention. I haven't had it that long, but it's creeping up in my top 10 high-end designer fragrances. So check this one out, guys. You won't be disappointed. This is called Sandal Ruby. All right, guys, another quick honorable mention for me would be Lovers from Louis Vuitton. It's a compliment magnet, man. This is galbanum, sandalwood, cedarwood as well, and ginger. But just, again, very highly complimented fragrance. It's so easy to wear, and it's so well received by other folks when I wear it. I love having these fragrances in my collection, in my rotation, where it's just grab and go. And I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, regardless of who else is there, I'm gonna be one of the best smelling guys in the room. That's what kind of fragrance this is. And I love it because when you have a lot of fragrances, honestly, you like to have something that you don't have to think a lot about. You can just grab it and go. And no, that rhymes. That you're gonna be one of the best smelling guys wherever you are. So that's what this is. Check it out from the brand of Louis Vuitton. This is Lovers. Now for the top 10. The first one's from the brand of Christian Dior, and this is Fève Délicieuse. You guys know what this is. Fève Délicieuse. This is praline. This is tonka bean. This is caramel. This is vanilla. This is cherry. I mean, again, this is, as I have termed, gourmand lover's dream. Everything that you would love as a gourmand fragrance lover is probably in this fragrance, all compacted into one beautiful, amazing fragrance. I absolutely love this stuff. It's a shame it's been discontinued, but I'll just cherish what I have. I've been seeing 4.2 ounce bottles like this go for $400 or $500. You know, so I'll just hold on to what I have. It's definitely one I want to keep for the rest of my life. From the brand of Christian Dior, this is Fève Délicieuse. Okay, the brand of Giorgio Armani had a exclusive high-end designer line called the Armani Privé collection, and this is one of my favorites, man. This is Ambre Eccentrico. Ambre Eccentrico, which is amber, cinnamon, dried fruits, and tonka bean. Oh, this is so fantastic. This is a amber fragrance with, of course, gourmand tendencies. Win-win situation for me. Love ambers, love gourmand. So that's exactly what this is. I always say when I talk about this fragrance, it reminds me of like raisin bread pudding. That's exactly what this smells like. You know, you have the dried fruits in there that kind of gives you that the smell of almost like raisins, if you will. Of course, the amber. This is a sweeter amber scent profile, more vanillic and benzoin kind of amber here. And this stuff is absolutely fantastic. A touch of spices, cinnamon spice, everything nice is in here. Love this stuff from the brand of Giorgio Armani, Ambre Eccentrico, one of my 10 high-end designer fragrances for life. Come on, guys, say it with me. Oud wood is oud good. Yep, this is Tom Ford's Oud wood. Classic fragrance, one that I love, will always love this particular fragrance, man. It's a Sichuan pepper, oud, tonka bean, sandalwood, and there's this rosewood note in here, kind of reminiscent to almost like a cedarwood note. Is really what this is about. Obviously, there's a little bit of oud in the background, but this stuff is fantastic, man. Classic. One of my favorites, obviously, from the private blend collection. That's saying a lot because I have a lot of them and I love a lot of them. But this one is at the top of the list. So definitely one I'll keep for the rest of my life from the brand of Tom Ford there. High end, of course, private blend collection, oud wood. All right, guys, this next fragrance comes from a long-lasting, long-standing, I would say, fragrance brand, the House of Guerlain, and this is Tonka Imperial. Tonka Imperial. This is tonka bean, almond, tobacco, and cedar wood, I would say, are some of the main notes in this masterpiece. If you love tonka bean, this is one you have to get your nose on. These fragrances now come in a newer presentation, i.e. tobacco honey. And again, this is just a tonka bean centric fragrance that is, you know, done in a fantastic way. That's what you would expect quality from Guerlain. Love the bottle. Again, this is an older presentation of it. Just when you look at some of the details on it, man, this is just helps to kind of make sometimes the whole experience of fragrances. When you have a beautiful presentation like this, classic, done in Guerlain, high quality fashion. Absolutely love this stuff. Of course, tonka bean is one of my favorite notes in perfumery, and this is one of my favorite tonka bean fragrances in my entire collection. So definitely one I want to keep around for the rest of my life. Even if I can't get this presentation, which, you know, they're charging an arm and a leg for this presentation, may have to go with a new one if I ever run out of this, but it's one I definitely want to have around forever from the brand of Guerlain, Tonka Imperial. All right, guys, this next fragrance comes from the brand of YSL. Again, they have the Le Vestiaire de Parfums collection. No, it's not Tuxedo, but it's this one, Baby Cat. And Baby Cat is vanilla, suede, black pepper, and saffron. Some of the main notes in this fragrance. My favorite vanilla fragrance in my entire collection. Before I got this in my collection, it probably would have been out of Tuxedo and Captain if I would have had a fragrance on a list like this, but This came in and it has won me over. Just love it, man. Again, this is bourbon vanilla, so it's not sweet, super, overly sweet confectionery kind of vanilla. That's the kind of vanilla I tend not to really gravitate toward, but bourbon vanilla is a little bit more bitter and sexy. Love this stuff. Again, the peppery nuances up top with that saffron, the warm suede. This is just the perfect vanilla scent in my opinion, and I love wearing it. So it's definitely on the list from the brand of YSL. This is Baby Cat. All right, guys, the next fragrance comes from the Chanel Les Exclusifs collection. If you've been following me for a while, you probably know what this is. Coromandel. Coromandel. This is patchouli, white chocolate, orge root, and amber. This stuff is so good, guys. At the heart, this is really about that patchouli and white chocolate. So sensual, so sexy, so seductive, and so darn good. That's what this fragrance is right here. I love Coromandel. I actually have a smaller bottle of this as well. I think a 75 ml bottle. And I loved it so much I had to get the big boy right here. I think this is, 200 ml, 6.8 fluid ounces. So I think that's an indicator that I'm definitely gonna keep this around for the rest of my life. So if you can get your hands on it, man. If you like patchouli, I think you'll love this from the brand of Chanel. Again, check out Coromandel. And if you've been rocking with me for a little minute here as of late, you probably know that this one was coming. Another one from the brand of Christian Dior. Mitza. Cinnamon, rose, patchouli, amber, and honey. My gosh. Man, guys, I don't really have words for this. It's discontinued, but again, the opening of this is very similar to Ambre Sultan from Serge Lutens. So if you can't get this, check out Ambre Sultan. They have a very strong similarity, especially in the opening of both those fragrances, guys. But this is just so good. Warm, spicy, creamy amber fragrance. This is just, again, for me, being an amber fragrance lover, this is stuff is next level. Gosh, this smells phenomenal, man. Again, that's what it's about at the end of the day, man. What you like that smells fantastic to you. And that's exactly what this is. This is everything I love in a fragrance. It's sexy. It has some sweet tendencies, but there's a sophistication to it that I really, really love. So again, it's probably hard to get your hands on it or your nose, but if you can, do yourself a favor and do so. From the brand of Christian Dior. Again, this is Mitza. All right, guys, the next fragrance, again, we're going back to the Tom Ford Private Blend collection. There were so many fragrances from this collection that almost made this list, but you know this one had to be here. I'm an amber fragrance lover, man. Amber Absolute. Amber Absolute. Of course, guys, this is amber, incense, oil venom, and vanilla as some of the main notes. This is a smoky, ambery fragrance. So if you don't really like the smoky, if you don't like smoky fragrances, I would say you may not really appreciate this, but this is a masterpiece of an amber fragrance. It is highly touted and sought after for a reason. It's fantastic. If you love amber, this is kind of the grail of which a lot of amber fragrances are judged. From the brand of Tom Ford, the Private Blend collection, this is Amber Absolute. All right, guys, the next fragrance comes from the brand of Hermes, and this is the Hermes Essence collection. This is Ambre Narguilé. Ambre Narguilé, cinnamon, honey, caramel, tobacco, and some of the main notes in this masterpiece. Listen, this fragrance, in my opinion, started the apple pie, quote unquote, DNA. There have been such amazing fragrances that have followed that have a similar scent profile. 1 Million Privé. You have Ouajan from Parfums de Marly. You have Ambre Tabac from the brand of Daniel Jossier. All of these fragrances have a very similar DNA. This is a little bit more sophisticated. And again, this is where, in my opinion, the apple pie kind of scent profile started. There's also a note of roasted sesame in here. Again, sesame gives almost like this doughy bread-like smell when used in fragrances. I love it. So anyway, this stuff is fantastic. It's still on the market. Before, I don't want to even say that word out loud, that D word, discontinued. They decided to do something like that. Make sure you get this in your collection. This is classic. Love this stuff from the brand of Hermes. Ambre. And last but not least, this had to be on the list. If lovers didn't make it, you knew this one would make it. From Louis Vuitton, Imagination. Black tea, ginger, neroli, cinnamon, some of the main notes. Just smells phenomenal. Don't really need to say much more about it other than the fact that it smells fantastic. Just like lovers, anytime, any place, anywhere I walk in, I know I'm gonna smell great. It's not, it's a very safe fragrance from the standpoint of won't offend anybody. There's no situation, there's no occasion or setting I think that this cannot work. Gotta have that kind of stuff around. This is one of my favorite go-tos as we talk about versatility, kind of Swiss Army knife kind of scent profiles. Gotta have this stuff for the rest of my life from the brand Louis Vuitton, Imagination. But that is it, guys. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today as I gave you my 10 high-end designer fragrances for life. What are some high-end designer fragrances that you have in your collection that you would keep around for the rest of your life? I would love to hear from you down in the comment section. Now, as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time and your attention to these videos. You don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you're sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use the information, or maybe even just find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the BowTie fragrance guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side.